Thing's been working for me lately. Okay, so you ready? Star Wars Day 5/4. May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. I know. I'm such a dork. Okay, so recursive formula, okay? It's basically a formula that does what it says, okay? So, but you must know the first term. You have to know the first term. So with a recursive formula, you're going to have two parts. Always two parts. Always two parts. And you guys are going to see this in a second. I'm going to put these two together. So you kind of like, these have to come together, okay? So then you have to know the first term. You have to know where to start. You've got to know where to start, and then once you know where to start, you then follow the rule, okay? So you got to know where to start. You always need the first term, okay? A lot of kids don't do that. So let's take a look at example 1, okay? Example 1, A1 is 4. So we know where to start. So I'm going to write down 4. Okay? Now, if I want to make the second term, which is A2, here's the tricky part. Okay? Then this a to the n minus 1 is what we call the previous term. Okay, a to the n minus 1 is the previous term. This is my first term. So then to make my next term, I'd plug n in, and I'd have a to the n minus 1. A to the 2 minus 1 plus 6, okay? All right. If n is 2, because I want to find the second term, right? If I want to find the second term, then n is 2. So then a of 2 is equal to 2 minus 1 is 1, right? Well, we know what A1 is. It's 4, correct? So I'm just going to take 4 plus 6, which is 10. A3, which is the third term, if I follow the formula, n is 3, it'd be a to the 3 minus 1 plus 6. That's my formula. And that's going to become A2. Well, A2 is 10, right? So A3 then is A2 plus 6. What's A2? 10 plus 6, right? Which is 16. Now, at this point in time, if you just believe me that it means the previous term, then you're going to take the term you just wrote down and add 6 to it. That's all we're going to do. Okay, we're going to take the previous term. I want to make the fourth term, so I use the third term. I want to make the fourth term, so I use the third term. So I'm going to go third term, which is 16 plus 6 is 22. If I want to make the fifth term, I take the fourth term plus 6, 28. If I want to make the sixth term, I use the fifth term, which is 28 plus 6. What's that, 36? 28 plus 6, no, 34. Okay? So it's a little confusing, but if you just know that this symbol right here means the previous term. If you want to make the, okay, it's actually really easy. It is. Okay, but you have to wait. You guys wait. Okay. If I want to make the, you ready? 16th term, I take the 15th term. Does that make see the, and 16, I would use the 15th term. So I want to make the 100th term, I'd use the 99th term, and then add 6. Okay? So it's always the term before the n minus 1. It's always the term before, always the term before. Okay? So if I take a look at this one, okay, let's see. Okay, if I take a look at example 2, it's the same thing. Right? I'm going to start. You have to know where to start. So I'm going to start at -2, comma. And then what am I going to do? I'm going to take the previous term and multiply by 2, by 3. So I'm going to take my previous term. So to make A2, I'm going to take my 3 times my previous term. The previous term was the negative 2. Okay? Use my formula. Take 3 times the previous term, which is my negative 2, plus 5. Negative 10 plus 5 is negative 3, right? Oh, negative 6 plus 5. Golly, I got to wake up. Which gives me negative 1. A2 is negative 1, okay? Now, if I want to make the third term, right, A3, I'm going to take the 3 times my previous term, which is my negative 1, plus 5. So I get negative 3 plus 5, which makes a 2, okay? If I want to make the fourth term, right, I go 3 times my previous term, which is my 2, plus 5, which is 11. Okay, I'm going to stop for a second. Am I making sense? This whole thing here is the previous term, right? That's the previous term. So now to make the next term, I'll take 3 times 11, A4. It's going to be 3 times 11 plus 5. 33 plus 5 is a 38, right? And then if I want to make the fifth term, I'll take 3 times my previous term, which is my 38, plus 5. I don't know. Hold on. 119. And now if I want to make the sixth term, A6, I take 3 in this formula, 3 times my previous term, which is my 119, plus 5. 3 times 119 plus 5, and I get 362. Okay, thumbs up. Am I making sense on this? Good. So when you see that 8 to the n minus 1, it really means take the term you just wrote down, the previous term. Take the term you just wrote down. Take the term you just did and do something to it, okay? You have to know where to start, and then take it and do what the formula tells you to do, okay? All right, turn the page, okay? Now, example 3 is the same stuff. It's just written different. They don't want to write it in function term, okay? So, f of 0, we know the first term. F of 0 is 4. So the first term is really A1 is really going to be 4. So we'll write down 4, okay? This again is the previous term, right? So if I want the next term, right, if I plug in 1, I've got F4, and multiply that by 3, okay? So I take the previous term, and so A2 is just going to be previous term. It's going to be 3, there's my formula, times my previous term. A3, then again, is going to be take 3, plug it in the formula, okay, take the previous term, which is 12, right? 3 times 12 is 36. A4, 3, because that's my formula, it says 3 times. What's my previous term was 36. I don't know, what is that, 108? I don't know, 36 times 3. I don't know. Yeah, 108. Okay. A5, plug it into the formula, I'm going to go 3 times my previous term, which is my 108. And I get an answer of 324. Okay. How am I doing? Am I doing okay? I mean, some kids really like this one better because it does exactly what it says. Okay, now, example 4. If we're going to write a formula, okay? If we're going to write a formula, then you always must, write this down, you must state A1, whatever it is. You have to know where to start, okay? You have to know where to start. You must state A1, okay? And then the rule. A of n equals something. So, it's always 2 parts, okay? So we need 2 parts. 2 parts. I'll let you catch up, okay? You need 2 parts. Okay? where are we going to start? What's our first term? 1. You have to say, start with 1. A1 equals 1. You have to state that. So you got to know where to begin, and then A of n equals, well, what are we doing? We're taking our number, and then what are we doing to it each time? What are we doing each time? Am I going plus 6? Are we going plus 6, plus 6, plus 6, right? So we're going to say take our term and take our previous term and add 6. So to make the next term, take the previous term, 1, and add 6, we get 7. To make this next term, take your 7, add 6 to it, makes 13. Take your 13 plus 6 makes 19, so forth and so on, okay? One, 2, 3, 4, and the fifth term is, if I add 6 to that, it's going to be 25, right? Okay? Example 3, same thing. It's got to have 2 parts. You have to start somewhere. So where am I going to start? Example 5, where am I going to start? What's my beginning number? Come on, you guys, wake up. What's my beginning number? Thank you, Ellie. Somebody. Ellie, you're the only one in here who I swear was awake in the morning. No, I think Kayla's awake. So you got to say A1. You must state A1. A1 is 2. And then you go A of n equals. Well, what's happening? What's going on? What is going on? What's going on? We're timesing by 3. So I'm going to go 3 times a to the n minus 1. So we're going to write down 2, which we did, and then we're going to take 2 and multiply by 3. And we'll take the term, so we write down the 2. Then we take the 6, multiply by 3. That becomes the previous term. Then we'll take the 18 and multiply by 3. And there's my rule. Okay? So homework today. I have, that was not too bad, right? Page 218. I want you to do 1 to 13 all. And the extra has got to be number 14, okay? Thumbs up. Not too bad, you guys. That was even just